Hello, everyone. This is Writing on Air, and my name is Kevin, and I'm with my co-host,
Kylie.
How's it going, Kylie?
It's going really well. How are you?
Pretty good, pretty good. We, this last week, we just graduated. Well, I didn't graduate, but you just graduated, right?
I did, yay.
Yes, so now you have 2 masters?
I do have 2 masters. First one is in education. The second one is in creative writing. So,
Wow.
yeah, that's why I love doing this. In fact, actually today, I'm very excited. We are reading 3 pieces from different students that I've taught last semester.
I did not know that.
Yes, so every one of these pieces are from my students. They're just so fantastic. I had to get them out. So, yeah,
Right
that's
on.
what we get to do today. So if you...
Make sure they tune in. That way they know
Yeah.
it's going on.
Yeah.
They can listen in.
And if you'd like to send in your work, if you could, please email us at
write.onair@gmail.com.
that's WRITE.onair@gmail.com, and we would love to read your work.
Yes, as many pieces as you want to send. We have had people consistently who've been on multiple shows, even more so, like multiple times on one show sometimes. And we have yet to actually have someone come in and read live with us. But now that it's summer,
No excuses.
yeah, I will actually be in the studio live. So we should definitely have someone, if you're out there and listening and you want to come in and read live, do so, please.
Yeah, we'd love to hear it.
Yeah, so we'll get right into it. This first piece is called Ode to Tomato.
Yes, this is by Brooke Powers, again, another one of my students. I had them do poems as odes. I don't know if you're not sure what odes are, but these are odes to food. And this particular student did one to a tomato.
Oh, all right. Well, here we go. I wouldn't have trust issues if it weren't for you sneaking onto my taste buds as I take an unsuspecting bite of turkey, avocado, Swiss on squaw. You never fail to hide your slimy seediness and your shiny red self between the concealing sight of crisp lettuce and lace Swiss. Tomato, I can always count on you to deceive me, turning my sacred sandwiches into messy, finger-picking problems. That is Ode to Tomato.
Oh, that was one of my absolute favorites through this semester. It literally, I just feel like I ate a sandwich.
I know, yeah.
When I talk about poetry with my students, I always ask for concrete images, and the student did just that. Didn't have to tell us like green avocados or creamy Swiss, which was kind of cool, but really good job here. I remember when we first read this, it was just so charming.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I'm agreeing. And I'm also not a fan of tomatoes, so I really identify with this piece.
Yeah, one of my favorite lines is the second to last line where it says, into messy, finger-picking problems.
Yeah.
So, and I do have to correct myself. The last time we spoke, I was talking about the alliteration versus anaphora, and I was completely incorrect. Anaphora is the beginning rhymings in lines in poetry, while alliteration is the beginning sounding rhymes or sounds that rhyme within. And
slimy seediness.
yes, yeah. And then this one we have finger picking problems. This actually kind of like bleeds over itself. The G's in the finger and the G's in the picking, and then the P's of picking and the P of problems. So I just love that line.
And before we analyze it anymore, I should disclaim we have a quite a big audience in the room over. So if you hear any background noise, I apologize. It's kind of out of our control at this point.
It's such a great adventure being in
Yeah.
here. There's just so many wonderful community events that happen. I believe this is one of them. So.
I think so. It looks like an open mic thing.
Yes, I'm very excited.
Yeah. So back to the piece. I think the middle stanza, you never fail to hide your slimy seediness and shiny red self.
Oh.
I could not describe a tomato better than that, I think.
Right.
It's so good. And it makes it seem like this is an ode to a piece, obviously. And it's kind of written like looking down the nose. It's something like, you never fail to hide.
Yeah, odes are usually like love pieces too.
Oh, are they? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I
Like-
got the feel for it
Yes,
then.
ode. Yeah, this happens to be kind of a turning around.
Ah,
Yeah, but
okay.
a love hate is what it feels like.
It does, it does. Yeah, man. I'm not sure how much more I can delve into it.
I know I could go into hours for this one. It's really cute, but we do have a little bit more, some longer pieces
Okay.
this evening. Actually, we have two more pieces there, prose pieces. So obviously, difference between poetry and prose is prose is usually longer stories, fiction, nonfiction, and poems are poems.
Okay.
So,
Well, who is this next piece by then?
so this is by Ellen Van Noy, again, another one of my students. I'll give kind of a little heading on what this is about. There is a main character who is taking care of a barn after her father had passed away. And in this time, for some reason, this gold watch keeps popping into the main character's head. I'm not sure if the mother is asking for it. I don't want to give it all away. But the daughter finds this watch and something else along with it. And there's this conundrum that the main character has on whether or not they tell the mother about the note that they find. And there's kind of a push-pull on that. And I'll read one part, and then I'll read a second part after to kind of give you an idea of what it's about.
Some good context. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, here we go.
Pushed to the very back of the drawer, she found it, her father's pocket watch. Slowly, she slid the watch from the back of the drawer and realized that it was sliding on a piece of paper. It was an envelope. She pulled it out and turned it over. She knew the handwriting. She sat down. On the front of the envelope was written nothing but a date, December 25th, 2012. She paused, not knowing whether to open it or not. Slowly, she opened the envelope, watching her fingers shake as if they belonged to someone else. Nancy. She immediately folded the paper back into its creased shape and stuffed it back into the envelope. It was to her mother. Why was it here, at the barn office? Her mother had never come here. She dropped the envelope back on the desk and stared at it. It lay white and rectangular, stark against the dark wood of the desk. The dull gleam of the pocket watch she had been looking for seemed more comforting. She picked up the watch. Its face had the numerous dials that showed days, months, and years. 2012, 3 years ago. But the watch held no answers, no memories. She fiddled with the edges of the envelope. Perhaps the letter held their answers. She was terrified to put it back into the drawer, and just terrified to bring it to her mother. Slowly, she picked it up and put it in the pocket watch in with her bag. Before she could change her mind, she locked up and headed to her car.
Oh, man. Excuse me, I like that piece a lot.
Right. So the reason why I make this note about the second part of the story is this, the word Nancy is her mother's name. And here we have this quick little section. She wanted to remember her father as a wonderful, loving man, kind and considerate. She wanted that desperately. But it wasn't true. Passionate, yes. Driven, yes. Successful again, yes. But a loving husband, a loving father? Nancy. Not my dearest Nancy, not my beloved Nancy, just Nancy.
I just want to say, I think the struggle here is so, beautiful to me, because with death, I think, comes like a finality, obviously. Mm-hmm. And it's not just a finality in the person's gone forever, but also their finality of character, because there's no way they can change it beyond that point, because they're non-existent anymore. And when something comes along that could change that, what's so terrifying about it is if it changes it in a way you don't like, there is no redeeming on that.
Correct.
They can't go back and apologize or show you differently. It changes your entire perspective, and that becomes super destabilizing for who you feel as a person.
Oh man, there's something about always having this image of parents.
Yeah.
And then when you grow up and realize they're human,
yeah,
it's such a I don't even know how to explain that feeling, but when parents become human, it's just kind of this, it shakes you to the core. And her seeing her father being so human, and again, not being passionate, not being a loving husband and father. It's kind of a weird
It's
I
a
don't
side
know.
that's new, and she can't
Right.
explore it, so she only gets that first impression of it.
Right. And then she gets these really nice intimate moments with her mother at the end of the story. She has this intimate time with her mother. She's got the pocket watch and she has this envelope. What does she do? Does she hand over the envelope and the watch?
Oh man.
And it's this really, oh man, I'm trying to get the student to publish because
Yeah.
it's just so really well done. And they do such a human ending, just such a well done job that I don't know, I'm overwhelmed by how good they pull off this story. And that's just a little tiny snippet. That's just one of the many pieces in here that really show the talent of this writer.
Yeah, and I want to point that out too. Like, it's moved beyond the discussion of like the writing style to the writing content now,
Yes.
which is that's just one of the most engaging things to deal with, because then it becomes like a human piece. It's like we're talking about
Exactly.
like how people are interacting, and that really speaks to the testament, or really speaks to the character of the person writing it.
Right. The
as well.
language in this is really beautiful from the very beginning all the way to the end. It's just so mature. It's almost. I'm shocked
Yeah.
that this was a beginning English creative class, like
Oh,
creative.
my.
It still blows me away to know that after everything, this is like what she came up with. So she did a lot of good revision. Revision is key. It's about rewriting, and she did such a good job. So.
Yeah. Oh
Anyway,
man.
yeah, I know. I don't mean to go off about my students. I'm just
No,
I
this is
love
good.
them.
This is good. What was her name again?
Oh, yes, it's Ellen Van Noy.
Ellen Van Noy. Well, thank you for that piece.
Thank you so much, Ellen. Yes.
We'll
so-
come back to this, I'm sure, because that piece is so
Oh
good.
yes, I'll bring that back.
Yeah, don't put it away. She set it over on the other side of the studio, and I was like, wait, we need it again. All right, so we have one more, I believe.
Yes, we have another piece.
Yeah.
So this one is by Sayer Turcotte. I believe I'm saying her last name wrong. Sayer, I apologize profusely. I've only known her as Sayer.
She can come in and say it herself next
Yeah,
time.
you can come in here and can tell me what's wrong. So this story is actually called The Grind, and it's this really beautiful, it's a feminist piece,
Oh,
actually. It's this juxtaposition between a businesswoman and a waitress. And the juxtaposition is this idea of what it's to be a businesswoman as compared to a waitress. But then in the end, this main character finds this connection that the two of them have.
oh, the commonalities.
Yeah, and so I'll read this piece, and then I'll go into kind of explain the situation in which the main character sees how she has a lot more in common with this waitress than she realizes.
Oh, wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right, well, here we go.
Thank you. Evening's chill sneaks past the frail guard of the blazer and pressed shirt she has worn since early this morning. Only once a full cigarette is finished and stomped out does she make up her mind. Car left to rest in the gas station parking lot, the short walk is made towards neon blue, warmth, and a full stomach surely waiting. The emptiness in her gut is made apparent when greeted by the wafting breeze saturated in coffee, biscuits, and burgers. Sugar and salt cast into her face by the open door, a prize after the day's drive. The waitress to seat her is a whole head shorter, shirt coming untucked on one side. There's a twirl in her step as she turns to introduce the woman to a booth seat. Material in varying hues of blue that softly scream when saddened. "I like your hair," her voice raises above the music. "Coffee for you?" "Please." The waitress's smile and stare linger. Her tone is brim with honey. You always wear your sunglasses around at night?" A proceeding hum as the woman takes the glass from her face. They're folded and set aside soft as one spreads flower petals. A soft finger swipes beneath both eyes to be sure there's no makeup fallout. By the time she has righted herself, the waitress has set down the menu and hustled along down the road of booths. One step flows into the other, a practice routine. The light shouldn't be so bright. There's no choice but to squint and fight off the glow of even the dullest diner bulbs. It takes an eternity before she can look at her phone. You did well today. You met everyone's expectations. A handful of emails. No more than 5 seconds spared to each before they are deleted. The words stopped making up for the night drives, lengthy PowerPoints, and hotel beds ages ago. The 9 to 5 had turned into much more at some point. Every email produces a face, a shaven suit and tie each, none of which had to worry about high heels or flaking mascara. The device drops onto its face in favor of the illuminated menu.
Oh, man.
Right.
Wow.
So you can totally see the absolute distance in language usage in both of these.
Yeah.
Both are very poetic. What I really like about Sayre is she almost uses a very lyrical way of talking with her words.
Yes.
What I loved about Ellen was it was very kind of direct to the point. Just
Business-like.
two totally different styles, both so beautiful, and do exactly the same thing. They tell such a good story.
Yes.
What I love about Sayers is she does that thing of, what was it? A wafting breeze saturated in coffee, biscuits, and burgers. I smell all this. I taste all of this. That sugar that meets sugar and salt, you know, when you open a door to a diner and that greasy air is literally like you can taste it.
Yep.
Yeah, so.
There was a line after that, too, or maybe before that. Oh, right before that. The emptiness in her gut is made apparent when greeted by a wafting breeze saturated in coffee, biscuits, and burgers. And I think the one you said was right after that, sugar and salt.
Yes.
Yeah. I like that, like, that to me, when I read this, it kind of set the tone of, like, this just, like, weight. But it's empty. There's nothing there, but it's like a void almost. And so when you started reading this piece, I kind of went into it, and that's what said it for me. It's so good.
Right. And I love how there's the way they kind of describe this waitress as routine but happy.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes you go into diners and people are just so exhausted over their job, but there's not. It's this beautiful moment with this waitress kind of bouncing around and how can I help you? And, you know, trying to make small talk. Just a really, really sweet character.
And it's genuine.
It's genuine.
That's
It's what
the
it
thing.
feels like, you know. You know, you always wear your glasses around at night. You know, you can just hear the twang and
That small brilliance of intellect where they just notice the small things in people. Because when you ask
Yes.
about those things, it's like seasoning
Oh,
in a really bland
right.
life.
My favorite, oh my God, my absolute favorite line is her tones brim with honey.
Yes.
Oh, you
Yes,
can taste
yes,
it, you
yes.
can hear it, you can feel
You
it.
can see it. It's
Yes.
that golden sweetness.
Right. So when I say I push so far against abstractness, because when you hear this is concrete work right here. This is very
Yeah.
concrete. You can taste it, touch it, smell it. Like you are literally enveloped by all the senses in this particular story.
Yeah.
And that's why, again, I push for that. So the story itself, the waitress has this moment with these punk kids who, you know, just kind of give her a really hard time. And here this waitress, sweet as honey, you know, just really trying to kind of make a good, a good day for herself. And these kids are pretty much tearing it away from her. And in the end, the main character sees, despite, you know, you've got these boys picking on this waitress, and yet this businesswoman, she's got that same, the old boys charm, you know, pushing against them. So, you know, females, it's hard, you know, in a lot of situations where we really have to work a lot harder to make people happy. And the whole piece does a really brilliant job of that. You have to read it from beginning to end. All these pieces really do need a good thorough to understand truly what they were trying to go for here. Very beautiful social commentary.
And what I like too, I'll pull back a little bit more because this really struck me. So the whole point of this show is to really show that for writers and really anyone in general, that there are connections between everything and everyone, and things that we can find that are connections, or maybe even create them to show that there's things going on in the background in everything. And so when I hear a piece that really is like dedicated to showing the connections between two different worlds in our society, I just freak out because it's amazing. And this piece was exactly that. This businesswoman comes in, she sits there, and she's having her meal, and then just kind of through looking and just kind of sitting and watching something, kind of like how someone maybe just would listen to a radio show. Those connections are seen and they're made prevalent, and then it's like a revelation in that person's mind, like, I kind of see how this is going. And it's astounding to me when I see pieces like, I like all the pieces we submit, but on occasion sometimes we get pieces like this where I'm like, oh, that's exactly what I'm trying to do too. That just makes sense. It's so cool.
What's brilliant about both these pieces, sometimes us in our heads, our stories, we feel like days and days have to pass, and days don't pass with this particular story. It's just it's literally a snapshot of a moment. Like, you know what I mean? I say, snapshot, not necessarily because it's, at least 8 pages long, but it's a short amount of time in so much is taken in.
It's just a meal.
It's yeah, it's a meal. Very good.
Yeah.
And then I like with Ellen's piece, it's kind of that same thing. Oh, meal. Oh my gosh. Ode to tomato. We're talking about food here, right? That's good. You don't get to that part in Ellen Van Noy's story, but there's a lot of wine.
Yes.
You know, that's the connection with the parents. So I thought that, oh, duh. You know, I forgot to mention that. So this is the class that I teach is actually like a food-based class.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I didn't realize that too. I was like, why is there all this food? I'm like, oh, that's why.
Oh, my. Okay.
Right?
See
But see, how brilliant is it that these students put it in so subtly in these pieces?
And
We didn't even
revolves
realize
around it. Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So I was very impressed with those. So
Yeah. Oh, man. Well, usually towards the end of our show, we like to kind of go back and obviously we've touched on a little bit here because the food commonality, and kind of look at the pieces and see if there's any relations or just kind of give a recap and see where we can kind of weave them together.
I think there's too many concrete things to really blend them all together. They just literally stand on their own as they are. And I love that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
But that's how I feel on this.
Yeah. Man, if I had to look at them, so we have Ode to Tomato, which is, reading this, it was hard not to laugh because it's just such a good piece. Never fail to hide your slimy seediness. That's gonna be in my mind the rest of today.
Right? Yeah, I have to say that one again. Slimy seediness and shiny red self. That is just so brilliant because instantly with that, you know those seeds, how gross they are all like that. And you go to cut it and they all fall out. I think that's a really great description of that, you know. And what's kind of cool about her uses of words is she doesn't have to give the same type of description that Sayre does, where Sayre will talk about the type of blue and the feeling of the blue and all that. But with this poem, it's subtle and it's concrete enough just to be able to say the word Swiss and know that it's Swiss cheese.
Instantly.
And I love, right, where it goes, I take an unsuspecting bite of a turkey avocado Swiss on squaw.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Swiss on squaw. Again, we've got that beautiful alliteration
Yeah.
beat. She has great rhythm in that.
Yep.
And in fact, even the prose pieces have this beautiful beat with them. And they have a great pace where it just, I feel like it pulls me through.
Yes.
I couldn't stop when I read these stories. There was not a point in reading them that made me want to stop and take a breath and kind of relax. I was so enveloped with the description, the pacing, and the way of which it was keeping me moving. Like with Ellen's, it was really brilliant. Like it was such a beautiful mystery. What is the daughter gonna do?
Yeah.
And in the end, it's kind of cool because she gives both an answer and a non-answer. And you almost want to feel frustrated, but at the same time, you feel complete. So it sucks because I don't want to read. I don't want to tell all the answers on the endings on these.
Yeah.
They're worth reading.
It's almost like just as you were speaking, I was thinking of it. It's almost like, so say you go to a restaurant and it's a very like 1-star restaurant. You eat your food and it's okay, it's good, and you're full, I guess, because there's something in your stomach now, but it's fine. And then you go to the fine dining, like a 5-star restaurant, and you get there, and the portion sizes are much smaller, very concentrated, but somehow they're amazingly satiating.
Yes.
You eat it and you're like, wow, I want more, but I don't think I could have more. And also, you don't stop through that meal. You eat it the entire way through. And these, in like a cooking world, I guess, are like finely crafted meals.
Oh, so
it's amazing. And the meal concept too, that they're all on meals. It's like they kind of fed into that. It's
That's so cool. I didn't even think of that. I definitely feel with each one of these, I get these. I get all of my senses are taken, and used. I smell things. I'm tasting things. I feel things. This is literally. I feel every single sense that my body can feel is utilized. And sometimes that's hard to do. Again, when I say it, and it's a real quick learning lesson. When I say love, what do you think of when you think of love?
Right.
Yeah. So your brain just kind of exploded because there's too many things. But if I were to give you a chalky candy heart that had the letter U and then R, U for me or something.
Yeah.
As compared to if I gave you that or a diamond ring.
Yes.
There's different levels of love, right?
Yeah. Oh,
Right.
It's
So
a
when
different-
you say love, and I'm like, well, what do you mean love?
Yeah.
You know, or bird. Yeah.
Bird?
Yeah.
Right.
Like, so what kind of, and when I say bird, what do you think of when I say bird?
Oh, right. Yes, it could be like first impression would be maybe like bluebird for me.
Really? I was
Would
thinking
come in there.
parrot.
Parrot.
Right. But I don't know.
Interesting.
I don't know where that came from.
As a small aside, one of my professors at the college actually had us do an exercise on what's our initial reaction with perception when someone asks a question like
yes.
that. So it's a long tangent there, but it's very interesting. So when you said that, I got all excited for a second.
Right. So the beauty in writing is you can guide your audience anywhere, or you can leave them in the air and have them grasping and just guessing.
Yeah.
So when I say concrete images, you tell me what you mean, and then you can guide me anywhere.
Yeah.
Again, you know, literally when Sayer says, as she's talking about the woman, she sets down the glasses after she takes them off.
And this is the piece in the restaurant, right?
Yes, this is the grind. This is the piece in the restaurant. She takes her sunglasses, set them down, and it goes, they're folded and set aside, soft as one spreads petals, flower petals.
Oh, man.
Right. We literally just saw 4 different things. We see the lady sitting there, then we see these petals, but then we see someone spreading these petals.
Yeah.
It's the layering. Layering of images and sensory. It's just a really brilliant move.
It's like seasoning. It can't be too much, because you get pieces where maybe someone uses the same description over and over again, which can be utilized really well.
Right?
And it depends on where it is. It depends on the seasoning too for meals.
Yes.
But if you do it really finely, you can taste the different things and like really pick up the different details on there. And it's like weaving. Like, I guess all those like master crafters of anything, be it like leatherworking or metalworking or writing, they all have those themes of being able to weave these things together.
Right.
That just I can't even describe it. I have
It's
an
an
image.
art. It really is
Yeah.
like, you know, a science. You know, writing is a science. A plus, you know, I don't know how to explain that, but like with Ellen's, she uses just salt and pepper.
Yeah.
It's as simple as not my dearest Nancy, not my beloved, just Nancy.
Yeah.
And what's really brilliant about what Ellen does is she uses like italics,
Oh.
like the slanted,
Yeah.
slanted words. Anyway, to express that's the word Nancy. You know, that's the written word that's on this letter, and that's all. All we have to hear is that word Nancy. And it hurts. That actually hurts my feelings.
Yeah.
You know, like if someone's like Kylene, I'm like, well, that's it.
Yeah,
like,
just
you know,
flat.
as compared to a nickname or something. So,
It's like taking a bite of unseasoned food almost. I keep going back to that. I'll stop.
no, please do. But that's
Yeah.
the brilliance of this. I'm very, very, very impressed with the type of work that my students have come up with this semester.
Oh,
So,
yeah. Man. Well, we're nearing the end of our show here, and we could definitely go on about this because now I'm mildly hungry too.
I know. I was thinking, I really want a sandwich.
I want a turkey avocado Swiss right now.
Oh, my
Which
sweetie.
when I read this first piece, that was the first thing that happened because I haven't eaten yet, and I was like, oh, that sounds so good. So reading it too was just another invocation of a bunch of senses.
Oh my gosh. I couldn't tell you the brilliant stuff that my students came up with this semester. I literally want to spend every single,
Yeah.
every single time, episode here that I can. So,
Yes. Well,
anyway.
hopefully we get more from them. But I think for now, if anyone wants to submit, we should say they can do so online at our Gmail. That is write.onair@gmail.com.
That's WRITE at Gmail, or on air. Sorry.
Write.onair@gmail.com.
That grad brain. And I'm distracted by the music on the outside too.
Yes,
so
yes.
forgive me, y'all.
Y'all, we had a good night and a lot of good pieces here, and we want more people featured. And as I said, I'm going to be actually in here live. Some of these have been pre-recording in the past,
Yeah.
where we do them on a day before the show and then air them. But I actually am out of school right now for summer, so that opens the possibilities for many different things.
Yeah.
We're hoping to get a little bit more activity as far as maybe some lyrical pieces coming in
Yes,
and
please.
stuff like that. That's in the works. And please do come in and submit, because this show is made by you guys.
Yeah. Or you can challenge Kevin and I
Yes.
to do some writing prompts if there's something you'd like to see us try and do.
Oh boy, you just opened up the can of worms there. It's going to be interesting.
Yes.
But yeah, so this is Writing on Air, and my name is Kevin, and this is...
Kylene.
Have a good night, everyone.
Good night.